Okay, so now let me do the tutorial the right way. So first thing to note is you will want to make sure that your file structure is accurate. Your source, all these images need to be in your source images folder, and there needs to be a numbering system on your images that Maya can understand. And I believe this will work. This _01. The other thing that you'll want to do is it might be worth putting a 0 in front of in front of this. Didn't want to open it though. I'm just going to rename it and add one more 0. That way I can have up to 1,000 drawings without any problems. We might exceed 100 for our project, and you'll want to account for that. Okay, so there's my images that I'm going to animate with. This is my Photoshop file. You don't need to really see that. Okay, so in here, to animate images, I need to go to my File node and go to the correct image name, and I'm going to change this to 001. Okay, and then make sure I grab the right eye, and change this one also to displacement just for now, because I didn't create the non-displacement right eye animation yet. Oh my goodness. I think my naming is off or something. Let's figure this out. Okay. Yeah, I messed it up. Okay. So, I've got the characters right, but I named it left for some reason. That's why it was confusing. So that's a good example of make sure your naming convention is accurate. Okay, so to use an image sequence, all I need to do now that I've got a numbered file is click Use Image Sequence. Okay, now by default, let's close that. When I scrub my timeline, the first 4 frames, it's going to be animated based off the frame number. And I have this frame extension right here, attribute in my channel box or my attribute editor right here. I need to break this connection. Right now it's purple. That means that there is an expression driving this attribute. So I'm going to right click on this, delete expression. Okay, now when I scrub time, nothing's going to happen. So if I go select my control, I'm going to add a new attribute. I'm going to call this I right shape. Minimum will be 0. Maximum, you'd want to set this to however many drawings you have. So I'm just going to set it to 10 for now and leave the default at 0. Click OK. Okay, so now I've got this iWriteShape attribute, and I need to use that to drive the frame extension attribute of the file node. So I'm going to select this one and this one, and then I'm going to go to my set driven key editor. I'm going to go to the animate menu set, animate, set driven key, set. There's my 2 nodes, 2 file nodes. I need to select my driver, my iWriteShape, frame extension, key. Okay, go back to my control, and I can change this to 1, change all of these, to 2, and key. Then I can go through and cycle with offset like we've done in our other videos. And now that attribute is going to control that. Okay, and I can key it. Now there's some things I should have done differently. Okay, if I was going to use set-driven keys, there's a different type of attribute called an integer. And integers are only allowed to be whole numbers, like 0, 1, 2. They can't be like 1.5. The integers don't make any sense in this when you're trying to select a frame number. Okay, so you'd want to use integer attribute. I'm going to show you another way to do it though, and I'm going to use a direct connection this time. So if I go to my hypergraph and select these two nodes again, actually we just select one at a time. Okay, and then I need to load up my connection editor, so I'll go to Window, General Editors, Connection Editor, and I need to load it on the right side. Okay, I'm going to load my control on the left side, and I need to grab my eye right shape and connect that to the frame extension. Okay, I need to do the same thing for the other node, the other file node. So load that side and connect it up. Now you'll see that this attribute is yellow. That means that there's a direct connection being driven directly by another attribute. So it works the same as it did before. Okay, but I need to change this attribute to a type of integer. So I can go to Edit, Edit Attribute, and I select eye right shape, and it actually is not going to let me change the type of attribute that it is. So I would have to do that in a Mel script, which I'm not going to show you because I don't know it off the top of my head. But I should have been wiser about how I created that attribute. It works anyway, but should have been done with an integer. Yes?
So if we're working with multiple expressions, do we have to guesstimate which number is which expression?
You'll have a cheat sheet. So the question is, if you have multiple expressions and you need to know which one is which frame number, then you need to create yourself a little cheat sheet that says, on this frame, this is where the frown begins. Or on this frame, this is the smile. And then that way, when you come to your shape attribute for the mouth in that instance, then you can know which frame number you need to be on. So that was a good question.
As an extension, is that something we can create in Maya?